On my wedding day, my son and daughter-in-law mocked my new husband right in front of 400 guests. They said he wasn't a stepfather. They called him trash. My daughter-in-law's entire family roared with laughter while I felt the world collapsing beneath my feet. I stood up, shaking with fury, and threw every single one of them out of the reception. It was then that my husband looked at me with a profound calm I had never seen before and said something that changed my life forever. "Honey, I'm a billionaire," he whispered, his voice steady as the eye of a storm. But let me tell you how I got to this moment, because what happened next was something none of them could have ever imagined. Welcome to my channel. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now, let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end. It all started 3 hours earlier when I, Eleanor, Ellie to my closest friends, at 61 years old, stood in the most magnificent event space I had ever seen in my life. The grand ballroom of the Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta was a vision of opulence, with crystal chandeliers dangling like diamond earrings from the vaulted ceiling, casting a soft golden glow over everything. 400 guests filled every seat, upholstered in ivory velvet that felt like clouds under your fingertips. The tables shimmered with cream silk linens, and towering centerpieces of white roses intertwined with gold-dusted orchids rose like elegant sculptures, as if plucked straight from the pages of a high-end wedding magazine. I had spared no expense, or rather, I had poured every last penny of my life savings into this day. The best string quartet from the Atlanta Symphony played softly in the background, their melodies weaving through the air like silk threads. The top caterer in the city had prepared a menu of lobster bisque, filet mignon, and decadent chocolate truffles that melted on your tongue. It was all flawless, or so I had hoped. After 15 years of widowhood, of endless nights spent alone in my modest 2-bedroom house on the outskirts of the city, crying into my pillow until sleep finally claimed me, I had found love again. Elias, Eli Vance, stood beside me at the altar in his modest but immaculate gray suit, the one he'd insisted on wearing despite my offers to buy him something fancier. His silver hair was neatly combed back, revealing a forehead lined with the wisdom of years. His hands, calloused from what he told me were decades of honest labor in construction, held mine with a gentleness that made my heart flutter. He wasn't rich. He drove an old Ford pickup that rattled when it started, and he lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment in a quiet, unassuming neighborhood where the lawns were a bit overgrown and the mailboxes leaned slightly. But when Eli looked at me with those deep blue eyes that seemed to see straight into my soul, I felt like the most cherished woman in the universe. That was all that mattered, or so I thought. The ceremony began with the officiant, a kind-faced minister named Reverend Thompson, speaking in his warm, resonant voice about love's enduring power, about respect and the sacred bond of marriage. I tried to focus on his words, on the vows we were about to exchange, and the ring that sparkled on my finger, a simple gold band I'd chosen myself. But then I heard it, the first loud, mocking laugh. It pierced the air like a shard of glass, coming from the 3rd row where my son Darius sat next to his wife, Tasha. Darius was 38, dressed in an Italian suit that I knew cost over $3,000 because he'd bragged about it to me the week before. A Rolex gleamed on his wrist, a gift he'd bought himself after closing some big real estate deal, or so he claimed. He'd always made it clear that money was the measure of a man's worth. It was a lesson he'd learned somewhere along the way, though not from me or our late father. Tasha, at 35, was perched beside him in a blood-red dress that hugged her figure a bit too tightly, her long black nails tapping impatiently on her clutch. She came from a family that fancied themselves upper crust, the Jenkins clan with their flashy cars and vacation homes in the Hamptons. But whispers around town suggested her father, Larry, had built his fortune through shady dealings in construction contracts, the kind that involved bribes and cut corners. "Look at that," I heard Tasha whisper, loud enough for it to carry to me at the altar. "The old woman's marrying a pauper." Her mother, Brenda Jenkins, a woman draped in too many fake gold necklaces that clanged like wind chimes with every movement, let out a stifled chuckle, covering her mouth with a bejeweled hand. Poor Ellie, at her age, she can't catch anything better. My cheeks burned with humiliation, but I kept my gaze fixed on Reverend Thompson, willing myself to ignore them. Eli squeezed my hand gently, his touch a silent reassurance. It'll be all right. But the venom was just beginning to spread. As the minister continued, delving into stories of commitment and partnership, the stifled laughter and cruel comments kept drifting from my own family section like poisonous smoke. "Did you see his shoes?" one of Tasha's cousins hissed, a young woman with bleached hair and a sneer that could curdle milk. "They look like they came from a thrift store dumpster." "And that suit?" another added, a burly uncle with a beer gut straining against his shirt. "My gardener dresses better than that." The entire row of Jenkinses, about 20 of them in total, chuckled under their breath, their eyes darting to Eli like vultures circling prey. I felt my heart fracturing piece by piece, but Eli remained serene, his posture straight and dignified, as if their barbs were mere whispers in the wind. That gave me the strength to hold on, to not let them see me crumble. The moment for the vows arrived, and when Eli began to speak, his voice was firm, laced with genuine emotion that made my eyes well up. "Ellie, from the day I met you at that farmer's market, bumping carts over those tomatoes, I knew you were the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I don't have material wealth to offer you, but I give you my whole heart, my eternal loyalty, and my promise to make you happy every day I have left on this earth." A few guests in the audience sighed, touched by his sincerity. My best friend, Vivian Lewis, seated in the front row, dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. But then Darius let out a loud, sarcastic laugh that echoed through the ballroom like a thunderclap. "This is pathetic," he declared, standing up with his champagne glass in hand, swaying slightly from the pre-ceremony drinks he'd indulged in before the ceremony. The room fell into absolute silence, 400 pairs of eyes widening in shock. Reverend Thompson paused, his Bible clutched tightly, looking at me with concern. Eli squeezed my hand harder, but his expression remained tranquil, almost compassionate, as if he pitied my son more than anything. "Darius, please," I whispered, my voice breaking like fragile glass. But he ignored me, striding into the center aisle with dramatic flair, gesturing wildly. "Seriously, Mom, this is the man you chose? This miserable old nobody who's probably just after your savings?" Tasha stood up too, her malicious smile twisting her features. "Darius is right, Ellie. That's not a stepfather. That's trash you picked up off the street." Her entire family erupted in laughter, her mother, father, uncles, cousins, all pointing, some pulling out their cell phones to record the spectacle. It was like a circus, and Eli and I were the unwilling clowns. Something inside me snapped. Not sadness, but a fury that burned from my toes to the top of my head, hot and unrelenting. I yanked my hand from Eli's and marched toward Darius, my champagne-colored gown swishing with each determined step. "You know what, Darius?" my voice rang out, stronger and firmer than I'd heard it in years, cutting through the tension like a knife. "You're right about one thing. Someone does have to tell the truth here." The silence deepened, thick and oppressive. Darius wore that arrogant smirk, the one he'd perfected as a teenager when he thought he'd won an argument. Tasha stood beside him, arms crossed, her superior gaze raking over me. Her family continued to snicker, treating this as prime entertainment. "The truth," I repeated, each word heavy with the weight of decades, "is that I spent 35 years married to your father, working 12-hour days cleaning other people's homes, scrubbing toilets, mopping floors, dusting shelves until my hands bled, so you could attend the best schools, wear the nicest clothes, and never know the hunger I grew up with." Darius blinked, a flicker of discomfort crossing his face, but he masked it with another sip of champagne. Your father was a good man, a hardworking mechanic who provided as best he could, I continued, tears pricking at my eyes but refusing to fall. But when he died 15 years ago from that heart attack, leaving me with just enough insurance to keep the house, I was utterly alone. Do you know how many times I came to your door begging for a visit, for a meal together? How many nights I called you, sobbing because the loneliness was a black hole swallowing me whole? Mom, don't make a scene, muttered Darius, his confidence waning, his eyes darting to the murmuring crowd. A scene? I laughed, but it was bitter, laced with pain that had festered for too long. A scene is spending every Christmas alone because you were too busy with Tasha's family at their fancy ski lodge. A scene is celebrating my 61st, 60th, 59th birthdays by myself, not even a text from you, while I baked a cake for one and ate it in silence. The audience began to murmur, heads shaking in disapproval at Darius. Vivian, my rock for 30 years, was openly weeping, her short white hair catching the light as she nodded in support. But Tasha, ever the viper, stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. "Oh, please," she spat, her voice dripping with disdain. "Always the victim, aren't you, Ellie? Always complaining, always needing attention like some needy child. Darius has his own life. He can't babysit you forever." "Babysit me?" I whispered, feeling a crack form in my resolve. But I held firm. I didn't ask for babysitting. I asked for love, for respect, for a fraction of the affection I poured into you, Darius, every day of your life. Eli remained by the altar, his serene expression unwavering, giving me the space to unleash what I'd bottled up for so long. And now, my voice trembled but grew stronger. Now that I've found someone who makes me feel alive again, who treats me with dignity and kindness, you come here to destroy it. You, my own son, humiliate me in front of everyone. "Because that man is a gold digger," Darius yelled, pointing at Eli with contempt. "Look at him. Dresses like a bum, lives in a dump. He probably doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and I'm supposed to be happy my mother's throwing her life away on that?" Tasha's family clapped and shouted in agreement. "Exactly," bellowed Larry Jenkins, his greasy mustache twitching over the scent of his cheap cigar. "That miserable old man just wants your mother's money. It's obvious." "Darius is protecting you," Brenda added, her gold bracelets jangling obnoxiously. "He's just looking out for your assets, dear." My assets? The words escaped me like venom, years of resentment boiling over. "Since when do you care about my assets, Darius? Since when do you care about anything but your own gain?" "That's not fair," he protested, his face flushing red. "Not fair? Let me tell you what's not fair. It wasn't fair when I needed $1,000 for knee surgery 3 years ago, and you said you were broke, but 2 weeks later you flaunted that Rolex. It wasn't fair when I begged for $5,000 to fix the leaking roof on the house, your childhood home, and you made me sign a loan document with interest, like I was some stranger off the street. It isn't fair that every time I needed help, you treated me like a burden, like an annoyance to be brushed off." The murmurs grew louder, guests nodding, some whispering criticisms of Darius. Vivian had tears streaming down her face, and other friends looked on with sympathy. But Tasha pressed on, striding closer, her claws, those black nails gleaming. "You know what's really going on, Ellie? You're desperate. Old, alone, grabbing the first man who glanced your way. It's pathetic, embarrassing. My whole family is here witnessing the worst decision of your life." Her family roared in approval, cousins and uncles laughing, phones out recording for social media fodder. I could picture the posts. "Crazy old lady marries a beggar." The final thread of my patience snapped. I turned to Eli, who stood calm as ever, and took his hand. "Are you sure you want to marry me?" I asked quietly. "My family is a mess. They don't deserve to be here." Eli smiled, a small, enigmatic curve of his lips. "Ellie, my love, I've never been surer. And you're right, some don't deserve this moment." I faced the guests.
Mostly good people, friends, colleagues, neighbors, but focused on the toxic cluster. Darius, Tasha, and your entire family, out. Out of my wedding, out of my life. The silence was deafening. Darius stared, stunned. What? Mom, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious. Leave now or security will escort you. Tasha laughed hysterically. Throwing out your own family? You're not family, I said coldly. You're parasites. 5 minutes. Larry stood, belly protruding. Who do you think you are? We have influence. We can ruin you. Ruin me? You've already ruined my day. What more can you do? Brenda chimed in, bracelets clanking. This is an insult. We came to support this ridiculous marriage. Support? Mocking my husband is support? That's cruelty. A cousin shouted, Your husband is trash. Look at him. Eli finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. Young man, you don't know me, yet you insult me. What does that say about you? The cousin silenced. Darius approached, breath reeking alcohol. If you do this, you'll never see me or your grandkids again. Those words punched my gut. Miles, 6, and Chloe, 4, my joys. But I looked at Eli, who had shown me more respect in 6 months than Darius in 15 years. If that's your choice, so be it. I won't be manipulated anymore. Tasha screamed, Selfish old woman choosing a stranger over family. He's not a stranger. He's the man I love. If you can't respect that, you have no place here. Darius's eyes burned with hatred. You'll regret this when he robs you blind. Don't worry, I won't come crying to you. The room tensed as guests shifted. Vivian stood. Darius, Tasha, leave now. What you're doing is cruel. Shut up, nosy old woman, Tasha snapped. Vivian retorted, It's my problem when I see my friend abused. Eli has more class than all of you. Chaos erupted, shouts, insults. Enough, I yelled. The venue manager approached with security. We're leaving, Darius sneered. This place stinks. You disgust me, Mom. One by one, they exited dramatically, knocking chairs, tossing napkins. Darius paused at the door. Goodbye, Mom. Hope your loser is worth losing your son. The door slammed. I trembled, tears flowing. I'd kicked out my son. Eli hugged me. I'm sorry, I ruined everything. You didn't. You were brave. I'm proud. Guests applauded in support. Eli took my hands. Ellie, there's something I need to tell you. What? I'm not who you think I am. My heart stopped. Eli, what do you mean? Honey, I'm a billionaire. I have over $2 billion in assets, properties worldwide, companies, everything. I stared, the words not registering. Vivian steadied me. Breathe, Ellie. I don't understand. Your apartment? Your car? A choice, Eli said gently. After my wife died 8 years ago, I saw how money corrupted relationships. I lived simply to find genuine love. The room hushed. I found it in you. You loved me for me, not my wealth. Why now? I asked. To show you their true colors when they thought I was nothing. My God, I whispered. Darius insulted a billionaire. He insulted the man you love. Money doesn't change that. It made sense. His confidence, his stories. Did anyone know? My lawyer, Marcus King, in row 12. I saw him nod. What now? We start without secrets. You'll never worry again. Tears fell, relief, shock. Vivian hugged me. I knew he was special. Guests congratulated us. Eli had paid Darius's debt anonymously, a test he'd failed. We continued the ceremonies surrounded by true friends. The reception transformed, dancing, laughter. Eli toasted, revealing Vance Development Group. Applause thundered. My mind whirled to Darius. What was he thinking? That night in the suite, I felt overwhelmed. Eli comforted me. Nothing changes between us. It changes everything. We decide how. He explained why me, the farmer's market, my kindness. We kissed, a promise. Next morning, a helicopter tour showed his empire, hotels, centers, a hospital he donated. For low-income cancer patients like my Letitia, I saw his goodness. At headquarters, Marcus presented documents, accounts, properties, $50 million fund, trusts for my grandkids. Why? They're innocent, important to you, so to me. Overwhelmed, I asked about Darius. Financial problems, $2 million debt. How? Bad investments, lavish living. He'd learned Eli's identity, messaged for money, using me.
Don't give it, I said. He needs to learn. Honeymoon on his island. Paradise, but worry lingered. Mark updated, Tasha left, divorce. Darius drinking, trying to sell our story. Handled, Eli said. I needed to see Darius. In his rundown apartment, he looked broken. Mom, I'm not staying. You humiliated me because you thought Eli poor. If I'd known, that's the point. You valued money over me. He begged, debts threatening. Go to police, call Marcus. Will you forgive me? I don't know. Prove you're worth it. 6 months later, news showed Darius reformed, working construction, giving talks. He'd paid back $5,000. I texted, proud. We met, awkward but hopeful. Reunion with grandkids, joyful. Eli, wonderful. Foundation for abandoned women. Vows renewed, Darius bare. Past is past, Eli said. That night, reflecting, life changed, but I wouldn't alter it. I'm strong because I had no choice. Glad to share. Like, subscribe. 2 popular stories next. I woke up the next morning in that enormous bed, wrapped in sheets that felt like clouds woven from heaven itself. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, painting the city below in soft gold. For a split second, I thought it had all been a dream. The wedding, the humiliation, Eli's impossible revelation. But then I turned my head and saw him sleeping peacefully beside me, silver hair tousled, face relaxed in a way that made my heart ache with tenderness. It was real, every shattering, beautiful moment of it. I slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake him, and padded barefoot to the window. Atlanta stretched out beneath us, tiny cars crawling along familiar streets, the skyline glinting in the dawn. From this height, everything looked so small, so manageable. I wondered if this was how Eli saw the world all these years, quietly owning pieces of it while no one noticed the man behind the curtain. Good morning, my love, his voice rumbled softly behind me. I turned to find him propped on one elbow, smiling that gentle smile that had first stolen my heart at the farmer's market. Good morning, I whispered, walking back to sit on the edge of the bed. I couldn't sleep much longer, my mind won't stop spinning. It's understandable, he said, reaching for my hand. Yesterday was extraordinary. He paused, studying my face. But I have something to show you today, something that might help you understand who I am now and what our life together could be. An hour later, we were lifting off in a sleek black helicopter from the hotel's private rooftop pad. I gripped the seat, heart pounding, not from fear of flying, but from the sheer unreality of it all. Eli handled the controls with practiced ease, explaining he'd earned his pilot's license 20 years ago. It's useful for business, he said casually, and it gives me freedom. As we soared over the city, he began pointing out buildings like a tour guide revealing hidden treasures. That hotel down there, the Grand Plaza with the glass atrium, I built it 15 years ago, 400 rooms, one of the most profitable in the Southeast. He banked gently to the left. And that shopping center, Sun Promenade? Mine too. Those 3 high-rise condominiums along the river? Also Vance Development Group. With every landmark, my disbelief grew. I had cleaned offices in some of those buildings during my janitorial years, never dreaming the owner was flying above me now. Then he pointed to a modern hospital with a prominent red cross on its roof. "That one's special," he said, voice softening. "I donated it 5 years ago. Completely free oncology treatment for low-income patients." My breath caught. Letitia, my first wife, died of cancer. The public system couldn't give her what she needed fast enough. Money couldn't save her in the end, but maybe it can save others. I stared at him, seeing layers I hadn't fully grasped before. He wasn't just wealthy. He was a man who had taken unimaginable grief and turned it into quiet, profound good. We landed on the rooftop of an elegant but understated office tower, headquarters of Vance Development Group. Employees greeted Eli with genuine warmth as we walked through bright, open workspaces. No one fawned, they simply respected him. He introduced me to department heads, architects, project managers, many of whom had been with the company 20 years or more. "My philosophy is simple," he told me as we shared lunch in a sunlit executive dining room. "Take care of your people, and they'll take care of the business." After lunch, he led me to a corner office with panoramic views. Waiting inside was Marcus King, the distinguished lawyer from row 12 at our wedding, silver-haired, impeccably suited, exuding quiet authority. "Mrs. Vance," he greeted me with a warm smile and a slight bow, "an honor to meet you properly at last. Eli has spoken of little else these past 6 months." I blushed, still unused to my new name. "Please, call me Ellie." Marcus opened a leather folio and slid several documents across the polished table. "Your husband has prepared some important transfers." My eyes widened as he continued. "Full access to all primary bank accounts, titles to 3 properties in your name alone, a beach house on Hilton Head, a penthouse here in the city, and a mountain cabin in North Georgia. An investment portfolio seeded with $50 million, and trust funds for your grandchildren, Miles and Chloe, $10 million each, available at age 25 for education, business, or whatever path they choose." I felt the room tilt. "Eli, this is too much. We were married yesterday." He took my hand firmly. "You are my wife. What's mine is yours. It's that simple." Marcus continued smoothly, detailing life insurance policies, diversified holdings, commercial properties. The numbers blurred into astronomical territory. My mind, conditioned by decades of counting pennies, simply couldn't absorb it. When Marcus finished, Eli added softly, "You have complete freedom, Ellie. If you want to keep living simply, we can. If you want to travel the world, we will. If you want to start charitable work, I'll support you every step. This is your life now. You decide." We spent the rest of the day touring projects, affordable housing developments, scholarship programs for first-generation college students, small business incubators. Everywhere we went, people spoke of Eli with deep loyalty. He remembered names, asked about families, celebrated milestones. Wealth hadn't made him distant, it had given him reach to lift others. By evening, back in our hotel suite, I collapsed onto the balcony sofa, wine glass trembling in my hand. "I feel guilty," I admitted when Eli joined me. "Guilty? Why?" "Because while I was scrubbing floors in buildings you owned, worrying how to pay the electric bill, you had all this power. It feels unfair." He nodded slowly. "Inequality is brutal. That's why I try to use privilege to create opportunity. But you're right, it's never enough." He paused. "And Darius?" The name hung heavy between us. "Mark's been monitoring," Eli said carefully. "Your son and Tasha are in serious financial trouble. Nearly $2 million in debt, bad investments, living beyond their means. Some creditors aren't patient." My stomach nodded. $2 million? How? Shell companies, high-interest loans, luxury on credit. Tasha's spending didn't help. He hesitated. 3 days ago, Darius learned who I am. A business contact showed him a Forbes profile. Since then, he's tried contacting me 12 times.
calls, emails, texts through official channels. What did he say? Eli pulled out his phone and read aloud, voice neutral. First, Mr. Vance, I sincerely regret the misunderstanding at the wedding. I was unaware of your position. Please allow me to explain. Second, I have a business proposal that could be mutually beneficial. Seventh, as your wife's son, I hoped we could speak as family. I'm sure we can reach an agreement that benefits everyone, especially Mom. Most recent, that morning, I need $500,000 by week's end or I'll be in serious trouble. As your mother's husband, you have a moral obligation to help her family. I felt sick. Not one message to me. No apology, just leverage. What do you want to do? Eli asked quietly. The question was mine to answer. Part of me, the mother who had rocked him through fevers, saved for his college, forgiven every slight, wanted to rescue him. But the woman who had been publicly humiliated, manipulated for years, finally defended her own dignity. She knew better. Not yet, I said, voice steadier than I felt. Not like this. He needs to face consequences. Eli squeezed my shoulder. It's a brave choice. Painful, I corrected, tears welling, but necessary. Our honeymoon was on a private island in the Bahamas. White sand, turquoise water, absolute seclusion. I tried to lose myself in the beauty in Eli's love, but worry gnawed. Mark kept us updated via secure video calls. Tasha filed for divorce and moved back with her parents, taking the children. Darius's luxury SUV was repossessed, his accounts frozen, the house in foreclosure. He'd been drinking heavily, alienating remaining friends. Worst, he'd contacted tabloids offering an exclusive about how his mother abandoned him for a billionaire. Eli's PR team quashed it swiftly, providing wedding videos that painted a very different picture. No reputable outlet touched the story. One night on the beach, moonlight silvering the waves, I told Eli, I need to see him face to face. I need closure. He searched my eyes. You're sure? No, but I have to. 3 days after returning, I stood outside a rundown apartment building in a neighborhood I knew too well, places I'd lived when Darius was small. The air smelled of damp concrete and garbage. Eli waited in the armored SUV with discreet security. This was mine to do alone. I climbed creaking stairs to apartment 32 and knocked. Shuffling footsteps, then the door cracked open. Darius looked like a ghost of himself, unshaven, eyes red-shot, clothes wrinkled and stained. Empty bottles littered the tiny cluttered space behind him. When he saw me, his face crumpled. Mom, his voice broke. You came. I'm not staying long, I said, remaining in the doorway. I came to say what I need to say. He reached for me, but I stepped back. The hurt in his eyes was real, but so was mine. You humiliated me on the most important day of my life because you thought Eli was poor. If you'd known he was wealthy, you'd have treated us differently. That's the truth, isn't it? He opened his mouth, closed it. If I'd known, that's exactly my point. My voice shook with restrained fury. You didn't respect my happiness. You only cared about money and appearances. I was wrong, he whispered, tears spilling. I was drunk, jealous, stupid. I've lost everything. My wife, my kids, my home. I'm scared, Mom. These people, they've threatened me. I need help. I know about the debts. I know you've been contacting Eli for money, using my name. Not once did you call to apologize to me. He sank to his knees on the dirty floor. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was a terrible son. I pulled Marcus's business card from my purse. This is Eli's lawyer. Call him. He'll help you file bankruptcy properly, negotiate with creditors, protect you from violence. It's more than money. It's a real way forward. Darius took the card with trembling fingers. And after, will you come back? That depends on you, I said. On whether you change, on whether you become the man I raised you to be. What about Miles and Chloe? I'll speak to Tasha, but I can't force it. He looked up, broken. Will you ever forgive me? I don't know, I answered honestly, but I want to believe my son is still in there. Prove it. I turned and left, tears blurring the stairs as I descended. 6 months later, I sat on the terrace of our oceanfront villa, designed to my exact tastes, every detail thoughtful. The sea breeze carried salt and peace. My phone buzzed. Vivian. Turn on Channel 7 News now. Heart racing, I did. There was Darius, in a simple but clean suit, speaking to a group of teens at a community center. 1 year ago, I lost everything. House, marriage, money. Worst of all, I lost my dignity and nearly lost my mother. Today, I'm here so you can learn from my mistakes. The reporter interviewed him about his fall and recovery. He spoke openly. Debts, materialism, pride. Then, voice cracking. My mother gave me the hardest lesson in love. She let me fall so I could learn to stand. At first, I hated her for it. Now I know it was the greatest gift. Eli slipped behind me, hand on my shoulder. Tears streamed down my face. The segment showed his new life. Construction job, starting at the bottom, small, tidy apartment, weekly talks on financial literacy. About us? We talk once a week now. Difficult, honest conversations. We're healing slowly. It was true. After he called Marcus and began the bankruptcy process, he sent a 10-page handwritten letter. No excuses, just raw remorse. It broke me open. I gave him my number. Our calls were awkward, painful, but we kept going. He'd worked overtime 4 months to repay the $5,000 Eli had secretly cleared for me. When Mark told me, I texted Darius 3 words, "I'm proud of you." His reply, "That means more than any money." 2 weeks later, we met at a quiet coffee shop, conversation halting but real. I asked if he'd like the children to see me again. His eyes filled. We arranged it carefully. The reunion with Miles and Chloe was pure joy. Hugs, laughter, sandcastles on our private beach. Eli was magical with them, teaching swimming, telling stories about kindness over wealth. One evening, watching the kids play, Darius said quietly, "Thank you for not giving up on me." "Parents never give up," I replied. "Sometimes we just have to let you fall so you learn to fly." We founded the Letitia and Ellie Foundation, supporting elderly women abandoned by family, offering housing, counseling, community. It healed something deep in me. Exactly 1 year after our wedding, we renewed vows in an intimate ceremony at the villa. Only true loved ones. Darius attended with the children. When it ended, he approached Eli. "Mr. Vance, I never apologized properly. You're a good man. My mother is lucky." Eli clasped his hand. "The past is past, son. What matters is the man you are today." That night, in Eli's arms, I reflected on the journey. "What are you thinking?" he murmured. "That my life changed forever in 1 day, and I wouldn't trade a single moment, because it led me here, to you, to this peace." He kissed my forehead. "You're the strongest woman I know." "No," I whispered. "I'm a woman who learned strength when she had no choice, and that makes all the difference." Thank you for letting me share my story. If it touched you, please like, subscribe, and comment your city and time. I love knowing where you are. New stories every day. 2 of my most popular will appear next. Choose one and keep listening. You're going to love them.